And just like that, we're live. Guys, welcome back to the Fantasy Football Card Quest live in the studios Tuesday night. We've got a special guest tonight. I've come to know him as Sean Quinn. You can find him at Raven Invest on YouTube. He's a very new YouTuber, but he's very like-minded like myself and taking a sports analytic approach and an analytic approach to flipping and investing sports cards. And so we're going to be talking about in tonight's live stream the differences between COMC and StarStock. Of course, that's an ongoing debate for the ages, right? For the foreseeable future. We're also going to be talking about what cards to potentially buy on COMC. I have accumulated a little balance that I'd like to spend with the help of Sean tonight. And, of course, you guys jump in the chat. We look forward to seeing you. JJ Bama, of course, is first again. You guys are letting him beat you like that? Oh, but you got a close second with Voodoo Rage, Sports Card 716. Shout out. Get your popcorn ready. AC about to spit some card knowledge out. All right, guys. So without further ado, let's dig in. What's going on, Sean?
Not too bad. How are you doing?
I'm doing well, man. I'm doing well. Everything's on the up and up here. I appreciate everybody sending their messages and condolences. My wife did have a medical emergency over the weekend, and she's recovering. She's doing much better. So we're excited to be back on the quest. Everybody's home and getting healthy. So we're doing good, man.
I was glad
You're in Canada, right?
Yes, I am. Yep, just outside of Ottawa. Yes.
Nice.
Canadian football fan. I know it's kind of odd to see that, but hopefully not too many people from Canada see this because I may get kicked out of the country for not being a hockey fan.
Yeah, but you got a couple pretty cool hockey cards you're telling me about before the show, and also your past, how you became Ravens fans. It's kind of the generation you grew up in, and like a lot of us, getting back into the hobby was, I felt, a similar story as mine as well.
Yeah, I've been collecting cards since about 12, but it was for the first majority of my life was all hockey cards. It was that 90-91 Upper Deck with that Ed Belfour rookie I remember those days running to the local card shop with my friends, buying those packs, trying to score that Ed Belfour or the Amari Cooper. And then, I accumulated probably 20, 30,000 cards by the time I was 15, 16. And then, interest changed. I got into, high school stuff and, became more important to hang out with my buddies and party than it was to have cards. So most of them, unfortunately, went to, probably sold for less than I should have. But, when you want the money at that age, you do those things. I was able to, as I was telling you earlier, I was able to hold on to one set that I had that I actually rescued from my dad. He had sitting in like a little tin wrapped with an elastic. Was a 81-82 OPG hockey.
Nice.
And the two big cards were the third-year Gretzky and the Paul Coffey rookie. And I still have those. Those are now in a sleeve in a top loader. But they're actually in really, really good condition for where they came from. So luckily I was able to save them because they would have been trash by then. But I was able to save that because I would have felt guilty if I ever sold that because they were my old man's cards. So, but and then I was out of sports cards for a while, and I slowly got back in here and there, But it was never a big thing. It was never like when I was a kid. So I'd be in it for a couple months, buy some stuff at Walmart, and then it would be. It's nothing I can't buy. I could never buy. There wasn't a lot of stuff online to buy as there is now and things like that. So from there on in, I just, I would pop in and out. I'd see some cards at Walmart. I'd pick up a blaster box here and there or whatever. And then, I started, that was all hockey. And then I started, I think it was about, just after they could, 98 was when I started really, really, really getting into football. I started liking players more than teams, so I was a real big fan of Derek Thomas, and I liked him for a few years. So I was kind of rooting for the Chiefs a little bit, and then I saw Ray Lewis play, and as soon as I saw him, I saw one play where he just chased a guy down, and just from there on, I was hooked on the Ravens. It was Ravens from there, football. I haven't watched a hockey game in probably 6 years. And so it's all football.
Crossed
Sunday.
over to the dark side.
Yes, for sure.
Now it is a wonderful sport, man, and that's what we're here for. Is the football cards. You know, we let all the other guys have their basketball and baseball and great sports. You know, I have a ton of respect for those athletes and those sports, but American football, NFL is definitely my favorites and one that I choose to spend all my time focusing on. I mean, do you play any fantasy football?
Yeah, I've played fantasy football since 2015, I think.
Nice.
I did a year and a half of really heavy, like 8 hours a day research, 40 tab spreadsheets that are doing projections, and it was crazy. Like I did football. I started casually just playing it, throwing a few bucks in, having some fun. And then I started winning and it was more fun. And then football season ended. Well, where do I go from there? So then I started the next one. I started basketball and I started baseball and I got back to another football season and then it just kept on going. I think I played like 2,800 tournaments in a year and a half. And it was just getting too much time. It was too much, and I didn't really ever have enough budget to be able to do what I wanted to do. Like I never had $1,000 to throw in it, and I would win a little bit. And then, I'd want to do like, say, 100 lineups. I could never afford to put 100 lineups in, and so it got too much. And so then I just, moved on to other things. And then I think it was November of last year, Jeff Wilson there popped up in my YouTube feed and saw him talking about sports cards again. I'm like, hey, I love sport. That was some of my favorite memories as a kid was, 4 or 5 of my buddies going to the card store, picking up packs. We'd bring them home. We all sit, we'd rip them. We'd trade for who we wanted. That was just like some of the best times. And, and I'm starting to get some of that same type of feelings with trade. I know it's digital. It's not quite the same, but it's still that through. And with the prospecting and the investing part of it, I get that gambling aspect in that, I like that gamble. I like that chase. I like to dig into the analytics and pick out somebody that nobody else is looking at and then have them hit. That's the stuff I like to do. So I just transferred that from daily fantasy over into cards. And
yeah, it's almost like the strategy and the game behind finding that buy low opportunity and then flipping it for 100, 200. And if you get, really lucky and make a really good find, 400, 500, 1,000%, 2,000%. I had some of those, and it's all possible, right?
It is. Theoretically, it is. I'm not expecting that, and I be more realistic. Like I know, like a 60-cent card is not going to go to $150, but I don't need it to go to $150 to make money from it. If it sells for $1.50, I make the money that I'm looking for, and I'll move on, kind of thing. But as I said, right, like I'm playing right now in the kind of the kiddie pool. Like I'm not buying $10, $15, $20 cards. I think the most expensive card there that I've been buying is the Hurts base Don Russ.
Base Don Russ Jalen Hurts?
Yeah. I think I've got 7 of them right now, and I've paid under $10 for all of them.
Ooh, nice.
And then I've got the two canvas that I bought for $10 as well.
And now is this on COMC or StarStock?
No, COMC.
COMC, man, that's really an incredible price point. And when was this?
That would have been early February, I think. I'd have to check on my records for sure. But as I said, like I'm on COMC probably 6 to 8 hours a day, not continuously, but I'm constantly on checking cards that I'm looking for because people drop their prices. They get sick of waiting to sell them, I just pounce it. And because of the tool that I built that we kind of look at a little bit later there, it's in one of my videos. I'm able to, within 5 minutes, have all the current prices on the cards that I'm targeting right in front of me, and I can easily just pounce right on them. And I find that's the best way that I've been able to get a bunch of deals on some really good cards. I think that I'm be able to sell, and I'm actually been able to sell more over the last 2 weeks than I was initially anticipating. As everybody else, I thought the off season was going to be, the end of the Super Bowl till maybe a little bit around the draft. and then at the beginning of the season kind of thing. But now it seems it's peaks and valleys,
Yeah.
When you start seeing the fluff news reports on NFL.com, it's time to buy, because they're running out of news. There's nothing going on. When they're talking about stuff that's happened 3 weeks ago, that's to me, that's an indicator that it's time to start looking at some, buying instead of selling, because to me, the event of the NFL is what drive people to buy them. You've got to get the value right. You've got to get the position on COMC right. You never want to be 30 cards in, kind of thing. But if nobody's talking about a player, the chances of you selling them are less, right? So
that's typically when you want to buy.
Yeah.
And then when you get all the talk, all the news, and I would love to pinpoint, which news source has the greatest impact. You and I were messaging about this. Which news source has the greatest impact on creating hype for, demand around a player's rookie card? That would, or just a player, there for his rookie card. That would be really cool to do.
Yeah, for sure. It would be something to look at for sure.
All right, so I want to go ahead and pick on JJ Bama here. By the way, shout out. What's up, Matthew, Nicholas, Zach, Samuel's Views. Let's see if I missed anybody. Blaine York, what is going on, brother? And we got an Australian in the house. Man, he's up. He's either up super late or up super early. It's not like 4 a.m. there. That's good stuff, bro. So my first question for you is, and this is shout out to JJ Bama. He left a comment on my mail day from yesterday about the shipment that I received from COMC. So my experience with COMC, that was also the first online trading platform I got into back at about a year ago at this point. And I bought a ton of variety of different cards. And as I'll show you on my screen here, I did have, a decent amount of sales, 77 cards. But in comparison to what I sold on Star Stock, which is like 350 cards, and the sales, so there were sales on here, but JJ's Bama's comment about COMC is that selling on COMC is a race to the bottom unless you have graded cards. Buying is a crapshoot as it's hard to tell quality from their scans. So I guess we'll kind of take that in two segments because he talks about selling and buying. How do you feel about their scans? Because, you buy a lot of raw cards, and I just received a shipment. So I think that their raw cards are actually in really good condition.
Yes, it is touchy. When I first started, I found it really, like, a lot of the chrome cards look like they had damage along the edges. And I think that was more just like a shine from the scan itself. But I use like a magnifying glass on my on PC when I pull it up, and I try to look as best as possible. Maybe it is. Maybe the scans are crap and the cards are, but I can't see them, and I don't buy stuff. Like, you can definitely see dings in the corners. You can, maybe not all. Like, some of them, the elite pictures are definitely a lot easier to tell when somebody's paid to have an elite card. They give you a better scan, but yeah, I mean, some of the scans are definitely not great. But at some point, I'm really only doing it digitally. So as long as there's not a huge defect, then I'm still okay with buying it. But if it's clear cut that I can see the corners are like I got a big ding, or it's, then I definitely won't buy it. But usually I haven't run into that too many times.
What about a hair? What about a hair that is like, you see that?
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, there's some of the chrome cards there, I'm sure that have got specks of dust on them, and it makes it looks like there's the spots on them,
Is it? Yeah, I just hope that's not a pubic hair on my Lawrence Taylor. Oh, that's like perfect length for like an armpit hair or something.
Nice.
I don't know. Anyways, well, no, that's really good insight. So as you can see here, I've got $120 balance on COMC, and because of their 10% cash out, I've never cashed out. I've always been inclined to reinvest it, and that's what I've always done. I've always wanted to just keep reinvesting it. A, because of the 10% cash out, but B, I want to try and keep playing off that house money. Obviously, you can see profited on here, and so I want to keep playing on that house money instead of getting hit with that fee.
Yeah, for sure. It's definitely I right now don't have any plans on taking any money out, so I'm not worried about it now. But it is obviously in the back of my mind because it is money that I'm going to make, and that's going to be taken away in the end, kind of thing. But I mean, everything for me now costs more because of where I am. The exchange rate, things like that. Like when I put $10 on COMC, it's $13, $14 for me, my money, things like that. So right now I'm just concentrating on, getting some money built up in there so I can, I have a PC goal of collecting the 100 top defensive players, and I'm going to display them in a frame on my wall, like the 100 best rookie cards of the defensive players. And I have, I collect Ravens, so I'm going to just buy some personal cards with some of the money right now. But nice. Right now, almost everything goes right back into buying more cards, buying more opportunities, things like that. So
there's a lot of good Ravens to buy too.
Yes, there is. I'm not going to disagree with you.
So I know you and I have messaged, but let's share with the audience, because of your budget. So you've got some Jalen Hurts, but it sounds like because of your budget, your focus has been on skill position players. And there's multiple reasons for that. It's not just your budget, but there's a lot of opportunity in that sector of our football card market specifically.
But I'm with you. Like I want to see every position get some love, like the quarter. I know the quarterbacks are the most important position on the team, but they're not the only position on the team. That's one of the reasons why I liked football so much, is I found it was such a team sport. You have to have so many people working together in conjunction to do well. So having the quarterback singled out like that just doesn't seem right to me, so I'm not very quarterback friendly, and one of my favorite plays is always the quarterback sack. So, but
yeah, because you come from a player centric background and a fantasy football background, and you have your favorite team just like I do. But when we look at player centric, you understand there's a reason why Tom Brady takes the minimum contract, so he can have all the best supporting cast around him, and that's directly correlated with why he's got the most Super Bowl rings.
Yep. For sure, absolutely. I have a lot of respect for players that want to win, and they take pay cuts, and they say, hey, you know what, you promised me $12 million, I'll take 7, and let's go win a championship. How many people would do that in their regular job? Would you take a pay cut to bring another employee on? Probably not. I wouldn't.
So who's your favorite? Let's talk about skill position only. Running back, tight end, wide receiver, somebody that you could draft in a typical fantasy football team that you could also buy their rookie card. Who's your favorite buy in football right now?
Right now, I really like Calvin Ridley. I think he's really underpriced because of the market that he's in. And I know this is a bold, but this guy runs like the most crisp routes I've ever seen in my life. Like I've seen a lot of Jerry Rice, and he's definitely the best. But man, his routes are just magic when I watch. And I'm not even a Falcons fan, but I'm a very big fan of his. So I've been now. When I was looking at him again, because I'm lower on the budget scale, I'm looking at the base Don Russ cards, and I was picking them up for $1 or less, which I think is compared to, if you look at DK was $15 at one point. That same, and another guy, Brown in Tennessee, he's I think he's undervalued because of. He's in with Derrick Henry, and he gets all the focus in that offense. But dude is a beast.
Such a beast. Yeah, I know. And Jamar Chase coming out of LSU reminds me of A.J. Brown.
Mhm.
But Calvin Ridley, yeah, he's so smooth on the field. He's one of those guys. He's
And
really good. And with Julio Jones, I mean, he's like, I think he's like almost 32 or 31 or 32 now. So he's getting up there, man. And
I think a lot of people still view Julio as the man in Atlanta, and I think that's maybe another reason why a lot of people aren't like numerous rankings online or of the dynasty rankings have like Calvin Ridley in the top 6 or 7 receivers in the league, but he's 12th or 15th in card price. So maybe again it's because he's in Julio's shadow still, or maybe because he's in Atlanta and they're they haven't done anything lately. I'm not sure, but I certainly like him. I only collect, as I said, Ravens and my 100 defensive players, but I would be happy to if I was wrong about his card, and be happy to keep him because he's such a good player. I think he's now.
So I was buying, just to interject there, I was buying Calvin Ridley Prism cards for pennies on the dollar last summer. Mm-hmm. And he was one of the, and actually shout out to the Card Dojo. He may not be in the chat, but he's definitely an avid peer of ours. And he won the August Investor Challenge I did last August, the $100 challenge with Calvin Ridley. I mean, he took off. I don't see any reason why that wouldn't happen again this year.
Yeah, I noticed, and like I'm just starting to get into the Prism and the optic and things like that, because I'm selling some. I was able to flip some cards and then reinvest it. So even his Prism, like it seems like it's very low value to me. Like maybe it could be the amount because they changed very rapidly on COMC. Like I've seen drops in like one guy getting 15 cards sold in one day. Now maybe one person or whatever kind of thing, but
check that out, Sean. It still has not reached the peak at which I sold last September. Mm-hmm. So right now they're starting at 1174. I'll click into his Prism here, but the raw and their data tool. I mean, I know you have some opinions on this, like ways they can improve it. And basically, guys, it just shows you their quarterly sales volume, and you can kind of have to do your own guesstimations on when that was, and then the quantity of sales for each category and when the best sale was.
But that best sale, from my understanding, is only a card that got sent home.
Really?
Yeah, it's
so
not.
That could be through an eBay buy it now, or someone bought it on here and had it sent home.
That was my understanding that number represents the largest sale that was sent off the site. They don't, which is one of their biggest issues, is their sales transparency, which I find is horrible.
Don't buy this card, everybody. Just he probably bought this for like 50 cents.
Who is it?
Edith Comer. If you see that name on COMC, you know who that is?
Is that Brad?
Yep. That's PSA 7 comeback card investor right there. Yeah. He's probably lurking somewhere.
Well, actually, there's a few guys that I've definitely been buying multiple cards off. Like, for example, see that? Go back to that Ridley there.
This one, Brad's.
Yeah. Yes. Look at the top of that. See that line at the top?
Yeah, that edge.
Does that look? See, I don't know if that's a shiny from the scan or if that's a bad edge, because I clicked on several cards, other cards, and it's the same thing for 4 or 5 cards, the exact same spot. Either they're copying the same card more than once, or it's the lighting of the camera. But like when I first started, I thought, oh crap, that thing's got dings in it. I don't want to buy it. So I would move on, and that's why I kind of went into the Don Russ, because they looked a lot cleaner online for sure. Like looking at the scans, but see, they're all in the same spot.
It's kind of it's a trait of the Prism because it has that chrome all the way to the edge.
Yeah, so that's what I assumed it was. It was just the lighting from the scan.
Yeah, honestly, I think this is part of the reason why JJ Bama says the scans aren't great. And a part of the reason why StarStock decided to never deploy actual photos of cards because they're like, and I got to the point myself on COMC where I was like, what's the difference between me buying this one or this one? I could stew over these minute differences for hours, but at the end of the day, they're probably both going to grade out a PSA 9, you know?
Yeah.
I mean, it's like it's more of the invest in that mindset of investing in the player versus the card. And that's why I bought that Walter Payton at a PSA 4. Now, of course, there's a lot more scarcity built into that kind of card, but you know, there's cards of Calvin Ridley that have a ton of scarcity, maybe not his base prism, but you know, other parallels and all the other sets and options. That's kind of my thought process. So I got to the point where COMC, I go on here and be like, okay, 1174. This one looks exactly identical, maybe if not better than the one that Bulbasaur Brad's got listed right here.
Well, I noticed that a lot. Like I've had probably 20% of my sales on COMC. Like whenever I sell a card on COMC, I always click on it to see if that person relisted it. And about 20% of them, like they'll buy a card off me, say for $2, and they'll relist it for $15, and just let it sit there forever. And I find that a lot of people kind of set and forget on COMC, and it's not too bad when they're all at the higher end, but when you get one guy that puts a card for 60 cents and never changes it, you know, it's hard to kind of get below him without losing any money kind of thing.
Yeah. Sorry, I was buying this Calvin Ridley, so I was only listening with half an ear there.
That's right.
But
glad you bought something though.
Yeah, I did. I immediately relisted it for $19.99. See how easy that is, guys, and then maybe I'll sell it come August or September for that price. You know, but this does kind of take some of the magic out of actually card collecting, and I've become a lot more collector since I got in. You could see my walls grown behind me, and I love getting the cards in my physical possession, actually seeing the details and stuff in person. But certainly selling is the most difficult aspect of this whole investing and flipping game, and that's why these online platforms, marketplaces have been created, has made it really easy for us to buy and then immediately relist and sell without having to get emotionally connected or attached to the card.
For sure.
You know, but I know for you that's very difficult because you're in Canada and you're not buying cards on eBay, right?
Not right now. I will eventually there, but again, like for the level of cards that I'm buying, the shipping is usually more than the card value is. You know, I haven't found any cards that I wanted to buy that the shipping wasn't twice the cost of the card. You know, buying a 99-cent card to have $3, $4, $5 shipping is not a deal for me, kind of thing. So, and I'm sure that's for a lot. Like I've switched my eBay to ship straight to COMC. And I have noticed quite a bit now. It's only $5 or $6 shipping instead of $26 shipping. So, you know, the digital platform right now is just it's an ease thing for me. I can, you know, don't have to worry about it. And I do have a bunch of cards and I'm going to get sent home, but they're probably mostly PC cards for now. And I'm just waiting to build up enough collection to send them home in one shot, kind of thing, like they've been instructed. Did you see that now that COMC is taking top loaders?
COMC is accepting top loaders?
Yeah, they're buying top loaders from people.
Oh, they're buying top loaders from people.
Yeah.
So if you can find top loaders, people, it's a new.
I thought about that. It's funny, you know, so has somebody been sitting on a stash of top loaders for 10 years that they're looking to get rid of now or something? You know?
Well, I did see that, and I see it here in the comments. Yeah. StarStock announced today, amongst a couple other things, text message notifications of their hot deals and whatnot, but they are charging a 25-cent fee per raw card to now upload into their marketplace. And I retweeted their tweet about that with a comment. and because I feel that is very reasonable. They're still not charging any money to cash out your balance. COMC charges 10%, and they're still only charging a 5% transaction fee, which is the same as COMC. But that 25-cent fee is lower than COMC as well. And I get exactly what they're trying to do. It's their only path for growth, to be able to raise more resources for additional personnel, and to also, because it was free, they were literally getting every raw card that they could possibly accept. Like even I did. I mean, it's free, so I was sending them, when I bought the complete sets of 2020 Donruss, I sent them every single rookie skill position player in it, because I was like, why not? And I think that's going to it's going to require people to think a little bit more about what they're sending in, which is going to improve the overall liquidity of their product. And 25 cents is very reasonable. And I think that that was a good decision by them. I'm happy for them. I hope that their company continues to grow. What do you think about it?
Yeah, I agree. It was bound to happen there. Same thing with PSA shutting down their doors, saying we're not taking any more slabs, or we're not taking any more orders now. They got overwhelmed, and this will now make somebody think twice about sending a card in. Do I really want to pay that 25 cents to sell this 50-cent or $1 card or whatever, kind of thing.
Yeah, and they're trying to clear up their backlog. They're trying to improve their turnaround time. And so it's interesting. I'm interested. Leave me a comment, guys. Let me know. Is this going to change your thought process around which raw cards you submit to StarStock? And I see a comment here from Matthew on mail-ins. Yeah, it's on any raw cards postmarked on or after April 1st. So they could be raw cards sent directly to them from eBay, which they do have that option for you, Sean.
Yeah. I got my COMC set up on eBay right now. I just, as I said, for the cards I'm targeting there, I noticed that somebody mentioned about I know they introduced that standard envelope shipping, but every card that I'm looking at has got minimum $5-6 shipping on it. So either I'm looking at the wrong cards, or it's the shipping's not showing up for me because of my Canadian address, even though I've got COMC, the Washington address, as my primary address. So I'm having a good time on COMC right now. So I'll worry about eBay after, but I do know that there's quite a bit of deals to be had on eBay for sure.
So I'm looking at Calvin Ridley here. I just bought the 1175. And this is something else we were talking about. I want you to talk to me about your strategy around supply and demand of the COMC marketplace. And if you saw I have $120. If I wanted to buy all Calvin Ridleys, I could probably buy about 10 of them. Close to. I know they go up, so maybe not. Maybe I could only get 6 or 7, somewhere around there. And they have a total of what looks like 20 to 30. So I'm not making a huge dent in the overall supply of his cards. What's your opinions on that?
Yeah, it depends. I did that. I've done that with a few cards where there's been 2 or 3 of them. It depends on the number and I guess the price of them. It's always better to be the only person to have the card, right? That's obvious. But yeah, I agree. Some of the cards you can, if there's 50 of them, you're not going to buy 50 of them. So in instances like where there's high numbers, I will make sure that I'm super patient getting the price that I want. I'm not going to pick it up. If I say it's going to be $1, I want to get it at $1. I stick to, if it's $1, I don't buy it, because I know the lower price that it is, the better chance I'm going to have when I want to resell it, that I'm going to be on the bottom. I guess it depends again who the player is, how the quantity is, because you want to, as JJ was right, you want to be at that bottom spot. Even if you're the same price, you still want to be in that first slot. It's not always possible because of depending on how much you pick a card up for. But if you're aiming for, say, the top 5 spots, you don't want to have more than say 20% difference on what you're buying, like the price you're paying kind of thing, right? Like you want to. I have some figures worked out. They're definitely not dialed in, but that calculate what the ideal price is compared to the other prices that are for sale. It's really work in progress, and I'm trying to tweak it to see if I can get, basically I want something to help me to say, okay, with what's available now, this is the price that you should buy it at. That'll give you the best chance to be in that top spot kind of thing. And I find a lot of prices don't change on COMC for certain cards. People just, again, go in and buy 15 of them. So, everybody that's ahead of you of that Calvin Ridley, if somebody came in and bought all those, you're going to be on the bottom. But that doesn't mean that the card's worth $20, right? Kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
At this very moment. And those are the opportunities that I look for selling when somebody. That's why I like to track the cards in my tool so that I can see when was that a everybody changing their price and increasing their price, or was that somebody that came in and bought 15 or 20 cards and now the lowest card just happens to be some guy who said it 6 months ago at that price. And then I noticed there was a lot of that during the last couple of weeks where stuff that was still not cheap enough for me to buy within my price range, people were still picking up, and I was able to jump in, with the lowest price and still making 2 or 3 times my money. So those are the kind of opportunities that I try to look at. And the problem is that's why I have to spend so much time on COMC. And I did see a comment earlier about some that, to make a few dollars, that's a lot of time. And it is a lot of time, but I'm putting in the effort now, trying to grind out so that I can build up more money so I can make more money off. I'm trying to make all positive trades. The money will eventually up itself. If I'm reinvesting it, as long as I'm continuing to make positive ROI, the amounts will get up and I'll start making more money. But because I'm not putting, $1,000 in, $500 in at a time or in one shot, I got to kind of grind that up. So I'm doing the process that I would be later on. I'm just doing it with smaller amounts now until I get to that point. That's kind of my approach right now.
So if I'm looking at this, and this is Sean's tool, by the way, and so he's got the player, the position, their rank. So I'm guessing that's almost like their fantasy rank.
Yes. There were.
Okay.
I took the top 40 quarterbacks consensus dynasty rankings. Now, I mean, those can be. You can argue, number 3, number 4 should be number 2, stuff like that. I just wanted a general ranking, so I took the top 40 quarterbacks, the top 40 running backs, and the top 60 wide receivers, and plugged them into my spreadsheet. And I'm able to pull all the COMC prices off and put them into the spreadsheet so I can kind of have an overall view of what the cards are selling for each player, for each set. It helps identify stuff where, 2 players, they're based on Russ are the exact same price, but their prisms are $20 difference. Well, that piques my interest now. Why is that a $20 difference? Is it because the card's undervalued? Is it because there's more available? Is it because, then that just kind of gets me the ball rolling, and it helps me and pick out things that helps me things stand out.
Well, I will tell you that based on your tool, it has shown me immediately that the reason why Devontae Adams' Topps Chrome rookie card is so underpriced is because there's a bajillion of them on here, 111 to be exact. Because if you look at this card on StarStock, I mean, let's face it, going back to 2014, if you want a nice Chrome rookie card and it's not a Prism, you're looking at the Topps Chrome.
Yep.
So that card, it's about to blow your mind. You probably already know because obviously you do a lot of research. But this card is trading at $23 a card on StarStock.
What's the B? See, I like to
$23.
when I do my compare, like I compare on eBay and I do all my comps on Star Stock. It's a little bit harder to compare like dollar cards, 75-cent cards on eBay because there's not a ton of those transactions to be like, yes, you should be adding. I consider the shipping in when I'm doing the comps from eBay because it did cost them that value. So, it's hard to compare. Yeah, they're going to pay $6 shipping for a dollar card, and it's not going to be cheaper to buy than me digitally. So,
well, this is screaming to me. Even if I have to wait 3-4 months to get these cards, which, by the way, that's been the consensus from a lot of the community. But I did pay up for the expedited shipping, and I don't know if that makes a difference. I also paid up a lot of extra for a bunch of top loaders. I don't know if that makes a difference. But, even if it took me 3 months, I mean, I'm looking at flipping, these cards immediately. I know they're worth more than $5 because I bet you can't even find a Topps Chrome rookie Devontae Adams on eBay for $5 out the door.
Yeah, when I compare them on Star Stock, I'm usually trying to get it as close to the Star Stock B price as possible. Like the closer that it is to the Star Stock B price, the more confident I am, because I know from looking at the videos that there's some defect on the Star Stock B. Like there's a ding corner, there's a whatever the case may be. The way he explained it, he said earlier, there's two significant problems with the card. But if I can get it around that Star Stock B and the card looks to be good quality, then I feel that's a pretty good price to gauge it at.
Let's see how many I can buy before people in the audience buy them before me.
Load them all up into your cart and buy them all at once.
I'm not even going to list them for sale.
The other thing,
what's the best way to click real quick? What's the best way to click to go back into that same set of cards? Just
right
here.
Yeah.
Okay.
That'll take you right back into the same set.
Nice.
And also too, if you look, it's not as prevalent with this card because it doesn't have a lot of parallels and stuff like that. But I find it, I like how it's similar. I guess it's similar to the way Star Stock does it, but I just find it more convenient. Along the side there, where they have the different, they have the raw, and then they have the different variations like near mint or sell for. But they also, when they have parallels, they list the parallel prices there, and it allows you to quickly compare. You'd be surprised how many short print parallels are selling for less than the base card. With less of them on the site and things like that. That's how I was able to find the Hertz canvas, because I was looking at the base was $10, $12, I think it was, and the canvas was $10. So I'm like, what am I missing here? What's the mistake? And then I kind of clicked in, realized, well, wait a minute, that's a good price for that. I can't, I was pretty happy with the $10 price on the base. So $10 in a canvas is a steal, because usually they're at least going for double what the base Donruss goes for.
Yeah. So is that Star Stock or COMC you're talking about?
COMC, yeah.
Okay. All right.
Yeah, I know Star Stock does list all the parallels underneath, but I just the way I find it a little more readability, kind of like how I've set up my summary for my spreadsheets. Right, it's all the information right in front of my face, kind of thing. So,
as they're talking about Larry Fitzgerald, Base Sports Live. What's going on, brother? Larry Fitzgerald is one of the all-time greats,
for sure.
And he's got that iconic year rookie card that I really like with the Topps Chrome. I should have typed in Topps Chrome.
I'm a big. I love to use the filters on the side too to whittle down to. I'm big on those.
What's your favorite filter on here?
Always the rookie card filter. The rookie card filter.
Rookie card filter. Yeah.
Yeah. I actually made a mistake the other day, and I was looking at some 2020 Prism just to see. I was just perusing to see if I could see any good prices there, and I thought I had clicked the rookie card filter and did not, and bought a couple cards that I didn't clue in that weren't rookies. I just saw the price and saw the name. I'm like, oh yeah, that's a good deal. So I clicked on it and then realized after it was not the rookie card because I did not have the rookie card filter clicked. So don't do that. It's bad to buy cards at like 11, 12 o'clock at night. Not paying attention.
You'll see in an upcoming mail day, I made a similar mistake. I didn't even buy this dude's rookie card. I just saw they were so rare. And I'm like, holy crap, I've been chasing these field level silvers. And like, here's a lot of his field level gold and his field level dragon scale. I'm like, oh my God, I got to get that. And it was an auction. And I ended up getting it for $60. And then the next day I looked at it again because it said shipped. And I'm like, oh my God, it's not even his rookie card. What was I thinking?
Yeah.
But it was like an auction at 1:30 a.m. I was up way too late that night.
That and when I first started, I made some purchases based on some YouTube videos, namely your buddy there in his big Kobe haul. It was right around Kobe's anniversary there, so I'm like, I saw that video. I'm like, oh, I should see if I could find some Kobe cards. I think I bought 6 or 7 Kobe cards and then sweated for the next 2 weeks because it was most of my budget that week that I had put in. And I was thinking, oh yeah, I'll flip them super quick, was not good. I ended up being able to sell them, but I didn't make very much money on them. Nothing bad. But yeah, like, I buy cards, some that I shouldn't have bought. And I regret it, after I bought it, thinking it was a great idea to buy it, So that's why I like to have the analytics, because that keeps me on the straight and narrow. That, that tells me, no, okay, that's not a good price, or that's not a good card to buy, or whatever the case may be. It helps the impulsivity, having the analytics there. I find, for me anyway.
So check this out. This is the base tops, which I was like, totally off. He's way older than what I was guessing. For some reason, I thought he was in AP's year. No, sorry, guys. AP? 2004.
Oh, yeah.
Larry's he must be on that Tom Brady diet. That's the only thing I can think.
Yeah.
But so this is saying that 294 of these have sold up to $45.94. That best sale was on just a few days ago, March 25th. Mm-hmm. So I'm like, wait a minute, $45.94 5 days ago. Why did they buy that and not all of these other ones that are under that?
Yeah, that's strange. I haven't seen too many of that. Like usually most of the sales that I've seen, the big sales that come from the third quarter of 2020 and the fourth quarter of 2020 for cards that weren't available in the third quarter of 2020. But yeah, that's where it could have been everybody dropped their price because they weren't selling. He could have been the lowest, and then people started dropping their cards because they weren't selling. I can't really explain that.
Let's see, buy it now. So there's some, yeah, that's an auction. I'm trying to see what the buy it nows are on that same card on eBay.
Yeah, see, when you're getting into like the $10, $20, $30 cards, you can do a lot better comping on eBay with that. But I find the lower end cards a little bit harder to comp out on eBay. So
it's about the same. It's about the same of what I can get it on COMC. And technically, he's an active player. I don't think he's announced his retirement yet.
No, yeah. I haven't heard anything anyway.
No. I mean, yeah, it would be big news. I mean, as far as I know, he's like going to keep playing until his legs break, Yeah. Kind of like Tom Brady. They're going to have to take me out. That's their mindset. You're going to have to take me out of this game.
Yeah. I was even thinking, I was hoping that maybe he might even, make a trip down to Baltimore. I think that would be great for some of the receivers just to have him around to learn how to beat,
I know, man. Rumors every week. Y'all are going to get somebody. I mean, you guys need some help there. Miles Boykin, is he a bust? Like,
I don't know. Like he's a really good run blocker, but that's not necessarily the best trait to have as a wide receiver. Like they like him for his run blocking, but he's not panned out to where, he's supposed to be that big bodied guy. I really I like Duvernay to be in the slot this year. I think he's gonna be good. I watched a lot. Again, I'm probably a little biased because I'm a Ravens fan, but I bought a bunch of Duvernay's cards because they're super cheap, and if he takes off, then that's a bonus for me because he's going to play well for my team and his card's going to go up. But there's some cards in here that it gets to the point where it's so cheap it doesn't even almost matter who the player is. You can as long as it'll sell, then
So the word, I've gotten a couple comments, and shoot, I wish I could shout out the dude. It might have been Jorge. Let me see real quick. I take screenshots of a lot of comment. It was one of the dudes shouted out about the price of 2020 prisms on COMC right now, and how cheap they were. Dang, his name is on the tip of my tongue. But anyways, yeah, so if I were to look at 2020 Prism, one of the guys caught my eye. You've been bullish on Jalen Hurts. I've been bullish on Jalen Hurts. And one of the 2020 rookies that I think is going to have a much better 21 is Jalen Reagor. And I know a lot of the guys are bullish on him as well in the chat.
I've got about 40 or 50 of his cards from
wow.
You know what? I for whatever reason clicked in my head, like having a quarterback and a wide receiver with the same name, just said I can just see the headlines on the Jalen strike again. The height, the guy, Jalen throwing to Jalen. Oh, another touchdown from Jalen to Jalen or something like that. So, I was getting some of his cards for 10 cents, 15 cents. So I figured
human psychology, man. That's smart. I like that.
At worst, he's going to ride a little bit on the coattails of the hype from Jalen Hurts. But now, I don't know if you've been reading the news on him. There's been rumors going around that the Eagles tried to shop to get number 3 and couldn't pull the trigger. Miami beat them, so they traded back. Now there was another, who was it they were looking about? The Eagles trading for Deshaun Watson. I heard some rumors about that today that they were, and to me, I'm confident that he's going to be their starting quarterback at the beginning of the season.
Who, Jalen Hurts?
Yes.
Oh, hell yeah.
Well, if you were to read the news the last few days, you might not think so. But see, to me, that's great because that means that people are going to think that there's doubt and that his cards are going to they're going to want to get rid of his cards, which is great for me because I'll pick them up all day long.
Wow, they're super cheap, bro.
Yeah.
His silver prism is trading at what Justin Jefferson's base prism. And I know Justin Jefferson's a better player. So I don't want to get in an argument with anybody about that. Justin Jefferson, he's the real deal. Yeah, but, sure. That's way too big of a price difference for a very, a short print versus a base.
I think his prism last time I saw was $1.36 or something like that.
And I love the limited supply. The limited supply on here of only 5.
Yeah, there's definitely a lot more prisms on Star Stock I find than on COMC. But there's a lot more Don Russ than there is than on Star Stock.
You've been talking to Brad over there? Look at him. I didn't know he's buying any 2020 skill positions. I do forget he watches my videos.
Yeah.
Let me check out Reagor on Star Stock real quick.
Yeah, I'm a real big on the 2020 draft class, wide receiver draft class, more to be more specific. There's a ton of talent that came out of there, and I just think that they're so underpriced for what they could be. And same with a lot of my investments were the 2020 class of running backs. And most of the guys that didn't start right away that came on more in the second year are being highly ranked as fantasy players, but yet their cards have not caught up to, obviously they're not expected to, they haven't had the success say of Barkley or Kamara or Dalvin Cook, but I believe they have the potential to be that. And I show some of the, some of that potential last year. So I'm happy to take their cards at cheap prices and wait until they explode there.
Yeah, no, I don't trust the Eagles front office. Just looking at the comments here, I don't trust the Eagles front office, and I'm not crazy about Doug Peterson, but I do like Jalen Hurts, and I don't know. They're a big market. They've got one of the largest fan bases in the NFL.
And that's why, and I totally believe, like, you watch like movies like Invincible and stuff. Like, I totally believe those fans are like crazy hardcore like that. So that's why I was kind of with the market and the Jalen's and and I like Jalen Hurts as a quarterback. I mean, he's obviously not proven, and he's by not necessarily cemented himself as a franchise quarterback. But as you've mentioned before, at some point some of these guys don't even need to play well. They just need to be perceived that they're going to play well. And that's good enough to be able to sell their card for a profit.
You're right. And as I'm seeing comments here about CeeDee Lamb. What's up, Wayne? And seeing comments here. T. Higgins. I love T. Higgins. Yeah, T. Higgins. Yeah, he's a stud, man. I mean,
even I got into a little bit of Miles Sanders action there because of the whole Philadelphia thing. I think he's an underrated back. I don't think like he hit a couple of inside the top 10 fantasy rankings. Some, his average probably is in that 11 to 12 range, kind of in the consensus rankings, but his cards are like, 20th. Like, so I figure with Jalen and the two Jalen's there and the Philadelphia being what I think they're like the fourth biggest market, that, again, with that whole stacking mentality, if the quarterback does well, the running backs and the wide receivers are going to probably have some of that trickle down to them kind of thing,
Yeah. And I see comments here about CeeDee Lamb. And of course, he's on the Cowboys, incredible draft capital. He's been compared to Jerry Rice. But in that offense, he's technically he's the X factor. He's the versatile guy. He's moved from the slot. He can play in different positions. But their true alpha on the outside is Amari Cooper.
Yep.
And Amari Cooper has got a bigger athletic profile when you actually compare them. And Amari Cooper's prices are so much cheaper. And it kind of boggles me. I bought a few of his prisms lately because I think they're underpriced in comparison to CeeDee Lamb, and I think it's just the age factor there.
Mm-hmm.
But I related to a similar situation in Tampa. I believe that Chris Godwin is like CeeDee Lamb to Amari Cooper as Chris Godwin is to Mike Evans.
Yep.
It's a similar situation, and there's a quarterback in both scenarios that can throw the ball well enough, and they run enough pass plays to feed both of these guys in that system. And I think you could pick either one, and if one has a rookie card that's a prism, you're looking at prism at both of them, and one's prism is half of what the other dude's prism is, then it's like, okay, yeah, I'm gonna buy the dude that's half that has the,
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I've already actually been able to. Again, when I bought all these original cards, my plan was buy them all off season until just before training camp, and then start putting them for sale and sell them. But like the last 2 weeks, I think I sold. I buy a CeeDee Lamb for a little over $1. I think I was averaged out about $1.10, and I sold one for $3.54 the other day.
And this metrics that you see here on the 2020 guys are inaccurate, unfortunately, because of the combine. And probably when Jerry Rice did the combine, they were clocking it by hand, and he is way faster than that as well.
Yeah,
we'll give it to him.
Give it to him, right? You get those guys. Like I watched I've watched the combine for however many years, and you get the guys that work out great in shorts and have the great numbers, but can't play football for the life of them, kind of thing, compared to their peers, kind of thing. But then you get guys that like Tom Brady, like you see the pictures of him when they drafted him, and like my 13-year-old kid looks bigger than him. Like more.
I love this. Is one of my favorite shirts too. I got a shirt of him when he's standing shirtless.
Yeah.
At the combine.
Yeah. So, you never know. It's an imperfect thing. It's becoming more of, even though there's a lot of science involved in it with the analytics and measurements and stuff like that, it's still a feel game. You gotta.
And that's the thing. Like they gather metrics here, but they only gather what was recorded, and they, just like history, we go back a certain amount of time in history, and it's a story passed down through the grapevine. So you don't know, guy clocked this with a stopwatch, what kind of mindset he was in, how accurate he was. Now I know we have a lot better technology today to track these kind of things, but some of these guys didn't participate in all the drills.
For sure, yeah.
The whole 9 yards. So we kind of the metrics of their speed and athleticism only take us so far. Then we have to look at what kind of teammates do they have, what kind of college quarterback were they paired up with in college, what kind of system, run to pass ratio, formations, and look at the whole scenario, and then their film, and get a feel of how physical they are, how much cushion do they. And that's why it's really cool to go back and look at the advanced data from a year prior, and you can see that. You can look at their cushion rate, his average cushion, his target separation, all that kind of stuff. I love getting into this. You really see how efficient guys are, and kind of pinpoint who you want to invest in.
I'd love to be able to take a tour, because you pay for the membership for that, right?
Yeah, it's about $80.
I'm spending putting 20 bucks every couple of weeks there in cards, so $80 a year for member. That's like a chunk of my budget to invest. So I don't do like the market movers. I don't do the card ladder, but I would be interested to see what the full membership gives. Because. I like the metric stuff. I like the stats having be in front of me, and I know they're all over the place, and you can find a lot of stuff around. It just takes a lot of digging. It'd be nice to have it in front of me there, and that's why I built my tool for COMC, because I was able to pull all that the data that I couldn't get from them. I was able to pull it all in for me. But another source that I'm looking into is the Pro Football Focus.
Okay.
They do grading players, and I think you'll be able to. That'll help with prospecting, because you'll maybe see guys that are graded on a per play basis, and you might be get a better insight for them. I find a lot too. I've been paying attention to the local reporters for each team. They will have a lot of insights on the guys that the flashy guys that you don't hear about. This guy's been having a great camp. He's not talked about in the national news, but the local reporters are talking about him. They see practices every day. They see him progress. They saw him last year, So I find those a good source for prospecting young talent is going to the local reporters and reading what the local reporters have to say about them.
I bet you that's where a lot of hype starts too.
Could be,
from the beat reporters at the local level,
because they're going to know the team probably the best out of any other, NFL.com, ESPN. The local reporters are going to spend the most time with the team. That's the way I figure. Maybe I'm wrong, but that's the way I figure it. And they'll have a lot of insight on players that you may not have heard before, but they're doing well in training camp, or they're showing some promise, or the team really believes in them.
Well, that's when if I hear stuff like that, I'm like, all right, let me go check out this dude's athletic profile, get a sense of his college resume, if I haven't heard of him before, to see, because at the end of the day, I want to make sure I'm investing in a good athlete. If he's got, he's doing the thing with the team, the community, he's fitting in with his teammates and learning the playbook really well, and, becoming an excellent route runner and this and that. What was his college resume like? What kind of ceiling can I kind of project for him in the NFL? kind of trajectory. And that's where I think you can find those guys that go on to break out and become alphas and elite players.
There is so much information out there to correlate and try to decipher and figure out that it gets daunting at sometimes, because there's just so much there that you can find out, and you've got to interpret it properly and then translate into that investment, and then you've got to figure out, well, okay, is the price for the card good? Even though I want to invest in the player, the price at the time may not be good, so then you got to monitor it, and it's a lot of work, I find, but it's rewarding for me. Like I enjoy it. Like I remember, I seen it was a week and a half, 2 weeks ago, maybe, Gary V posted a little community message or whatever that said, "You're not lazy, you're disinterested. You're not late, you're not lazy, you just don't love what you do." Right?
Gary V's comments and posts are fire. I don't follow a whole lot of motivational people. Like I don't gravitate towards like Tony Robbins and those kind of guys. Yeah. But Gary V, just like straight in your face. Like I remember I saw like a little clip from it. Was a guy's like, well, my girlfriend's parents, and it was an Indian guy, so it was very strict culture, and they demanded a certain profession from him. They're like, if you're going to marry our daughter, we want you to be a software developer. And he was like, but I don't want to do that. And he was asking Gary V, what should he do? He's like, tell her parents you're going to be a software developer, marry the girl, and then don't become a software developer. Go do whatever you want to do. It's awesome. It's like, yeah, it's perfect. It's great, down to earth, honest, genuine, advice. Like that's actually how you're going to grow. Like seriously.
Well, yeah, he's got a lot of good stuff out there that I really relate to with some of the things, and that post just related with me so well, because that's been I have a kind of a very lackadaisical, why do it now when I can do it later. I come from that generation. Like my dad lives with us, and I can just feel him almost rolling his eyes sometimes about the stuff, because we come from different generations. His generation was do it now, fun later, where I'm fun now, do work later kind of thing. So that really resonated with me, that, it's not that, I don't want to do that. It's because I don't have that passion for it. But now I found that passion. Like again, go back to that comment that JJ said, being on 8 hours to make a few bucks, that doesn't bother me at all, because it's something I love to do. Even though I do want to make money, and I that's my goal, is to make some money, collect some cards, trade some cards, meet some new people, have some fun. It doesn't seem like 8 hours of work. It's 8 hours of fun. The Lord of the Rings trilogy is 9 hours. I don't make any money from that, but I love watching that. Same type of thing. It's something I love, and I don't notice that I'm on for 8 hours, or I'm spending a lot of time on there. It just happens. Like, my first instinct as soon as I boot my computer up is boot my spreadsheet up, pull my prices down, and look at what cards are available.
Now I'm making some serious headway here, Sean, in increasing the resale value of Davante Adams top scoring rookie card on COMC. I think we're up to $10.24 is the bottom list. Finally.
Right.
I know I've spent like the last 20 minutes buying Davante Adams card, just like.
But yeah, like there's so many arbitrage opportunities between the different platforms. It's crazy. Buying from eBay to sell on COMC to sell on Start. You know what I mean? Like if you could get some sort of triangle between eBay or even including Beckett Marketplace, all three of them hooked up, so you could just send cards back and forth to each one like that. There's so many opportunities to make money from the different platforms, I find. Anyway, I've seen cards are selling for twice as much on COMC as they are on StarStock, or vice versa. Or
I think that's a great point you make that kind of goes understated. And now that I'm thinking about it, we're on here, it kind of transcends markets. It's something that I think all smart business people do. You kind of bid them against each other. Mm-hmm. Like if you're getting a new back porch installed or a new patio, you're not going to just go get one quote. How do you know what they're charging you is a fair price? No, you get 3 competitive bids. We see that in all industries. And I think that's exactly what us smart investors and flippers are doing. We're getting 3 competitive bids. We're going to COMC, we're going to eBay, and we're going to Star Stock. Maybe not in that order, but I'm typically going to Star Stock and then eBay and COMC. But I think you've got to pit them against each other to find the opportunity.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. And I just wish there was an easier way to get them on each other's platform. Yeah, it's easy to get from eBay to COMC because you can do, or eBay to Star Stock because you can ship directly from them. But I can't get that card out of COMC. It's going to take me 6 months to a year, or whatever it is, the crazy backlog to get it out from COMC. By that time, the opportunity is gone, So, but yeah, I wish I could figure out a way better way to maneuver between them, but I don't think it's going to be possible right now with the backlogs on pulling cards. I don't know how long it takes to pull cards from Star Stock.
Yeah. And that's where eBay shines because they're like the wild card. It's kind of like the Wild West. But you can liquidate cards on there in an instant.
Mm-hmm.
You can liquidate anything you want on there. This is some wacky stuff on eBay. Yeah. I mean, for example, I posted on my Instagram story, shout out to Brad Nolan. I posted on my Instagram story an MVP Mitch Trubisky field level select rookie card that ended its auction at 99 cents. It didn't get a single bid. It was hilarious. I came in it as it was a minute left, and it was just so funny. I had to screenshot it and post it. I actually should have bought it. How do you feel about Nickelodeon most valuable player Mitchell Trubisky as a backup to Josh Allen? Do you think there's any hope for him?
Probably not. No, I'm sure Buffalo fans are probably hoping there's no hope for him because they want to play. If he, the only way obviously is if Allen gets injured, he's going to play. But other than that, I don't think he's ever going to have a shot. So, but I don't wish injury on any player. So,
yeah, no, for sure.
But
Josh Allen. I mean, he takes the bull by the horns, dude. That dude will charge right into the teeth of the defense.
Oh, yeah,
I've seen him take some hits.
There is a risk for sure. And another guy too, I mentioned in my videos, Roethlisberger. I think he's going to spend more time on the turf this year than anybody. I think, and his body, I don't think is going to be able to take all those hits. And so I went up and I picked up some Dwayne Haskins and Mason Rudolph, for cheap, for 50 cents a piece or whatever. They may get a few starts this year and may be able to, double, sell them for $1 or something like that, But the only other backup guy that I'm kind of looking at, and we talked about that the other day, was the Mr. Finley there, for Houston.
Oh yeah, Ryan Finley.
Yeah, but
so guys, Sean here early on Ryan Finley started the Finley revolution, and he was messaging me. I'm looking at their depth chart, with everything. I don't want to get into it, with what's going on with Deshaun Watson because I mean he's now giving Bill Cosby a run for his money, but he's got some backups that have some decent athletic profiles. One, Tyrod Taylor, right? Picked him up, but they also picked up Ryan Finley, come from Cincinnati. Tell us a little bit about Ryan Finley, Sean. What you got going on there?
Well, yeah, he was. I think he was a 4th round draft pick from Cincinnati in 2019. But they had at that time they had Dalton, so he wasn't going to start unless Dalton. And I believe he did play because Dalton got injured. But then they drafted Burrow, so he was going to always be stuck behind. So he never really got a chance. But I went out and I looked at his metrics here, and then I looked. The one thing that stood out to me is that Wonderlic score. Right, you don't get a lot.
Dude.
Yeah, he's got 3 degrees, I think. I read two master's degrees, but I couldn't confirm that they were both. He does have for sure a master's degree, but I couldn't confirm the second one was a master's. But then that got me thinking. Well, what the highest? I think the highest Wonderlic score is still Fitzpatrick. And he's not a superstar player, but he's still playing in the league and he's still starting for teams.
He went to Harvard.
The only downfall this guy had was he doesn't have a cannon arm. He doesn't have that, but he's accurate. I read scouting reports, like his high school coach said he was better than Ben Roethlisberger at that same age. Everything said he's a good person, a good player, a smart guy. He's accurate. He's more athletic than you would think he is. The problem was he doesn't have that magic arm, that Matthew Stafford arm. He doesn't have that big cannon. So that's probably why he dropped a little bit in the draft. But I think he's going to be the starter for Houston.
Well, okay. That's interesting. So you think he's going to beat out Tyrod Taylor
I think that they traded draft capital for him, however little draft capital for him. They signed Tyrod to a minimum contract. It wasn't very much, I don't think, for a quarterback anyway. But they traded draft capital to get him. So that to me seems like, and it's maybe because I follow a team that values draft capital above anything, almost. Like, to get the Ravens to trade a high draft pick for a player, you probably won't see it very often, and that player is going to be a special player. So to me, in my mindset, when I see a team trading for somebody, like I read an article that Cincinnati was going to release him, and same thing that happened with Gabe Jackson in Oakland. I heard he was going to be released, and then 2 hours later there's a trade. So Houston purposely, instead of waiting for him to be released, went out and paid a draft pick to get him. So that means that there's some interest in him. And I just think with they're going to give him a shot. And I love Tyrod. Tyrod was a Raven. He started a Raven there. He was drafted by the Ravens. I just think that he's going to be the starter. I think he's going to beat him out. I think he's smart enough to play the position. He's not going to be your big time throw, big bombs down the field, but he's going to be that kind of game manager. Fitzy kind of, I think Fitzy has a little bit of a better arm than him, but I think he's going to be in that range. And and again, I'm not expecting his cards to, hit Pat Mahomes level, but
but he's a QB. He could be a QB1 come September.
Yeah,
now he does kind of look like a ginger. Do you trust gingers?
I'm all right with it.
But he has Star Stock A prisms at 450. He's young too.
That's my card, by the way.
Jeez, his chart is like an emotional roller coaster.
Exactly.
Look at that, dude.
Yeah, but
what was going on here?
I right now have the lowest card for sale on that. That's my prism for sale, and that's my offer on there. And I have
I see what you're saying. Look at that, dude.
Like a million offers on all those cards. They're super low offers here. I'm throwing them out there. I'm not super concerned about all of his cards there, but there's a couple of autos there that I threw $1 offer in or $2 offer on kind of thing. But I think I bulked up on the select and the prism for him. So
what I do for a guy like this, where I see excess supply on Star Stock, I'm sure COMC has very cheap prism prices too.
Mm-hmm.
And this is a little unfortunate for you being in Canada with the shipping constrictions, but I will go to eBay
for sure.
All right, I want to hit the home run, like the honey pot. So I'll go eBay and look for a lot.
Yes, for sure. Then there's probably better deals on eBay with lots than there is on COMC. But again, the problem is if you had to add shipping in for me, and then I got to ship it to I guess I wouldn't have if I've got COMC in as my eBay address, I wouldn't need to ship it home. But for sure, there's definitely, and I see tons of deals on eBay. But again, once I click that ship button, that's what gets me.
Honestly, these aren't great. Like I'm looking at the prices, just these two right off the top. Mm-hmm. Here's 7 for 40. But when you do the math on that, that's more than what the Star Stock A is. Yeah. No, thank you. I'll go buy me some Star Stock A's. Because the only reason I'd be buying him is investment and flipping purposes. Yeah, for
sure. Like he's not a long-term hold. He's not a, I'm looking to sell probably, or I'll be looking to sell when he's named the starter, and that's probably maybe when his popularity is going to be maybe at the beginning of the season. But I don't know if there's going to be a ton of hype on him coming in at the beginning of the season. But when he's named the starter, I think might be the point at where we sell, or I sell. I mean, right now it's for sale right now. So like I have my all my A's for sale and B's for sale. So.
I love the thought process behind your strategy that you've shared with us tonight. Very, very smart. And I love the thought process that you bring to the card investing, flipping game here. And like I said at the beginning of the video, guys, Sean just started putting out videos a couple weeks ago.
Yep.
But he's very transparent like myself. I recommend you guys go and follow his channel, or subscribe to his channel. And I put his channel in the description of this live stream in the link. I'm just going through the chat here. I saw JJ Bama said ew. So I'm looking to see who he said ew about. I think he was saying ew about Marcus Mariota.
I think his Prism is listed on there for $100 still.
What is going on, Danny? That's a badass profile picture too. That's cool. Pick Six Trading, is that your YouTube channel? That's cool. Check it out.
That's also one of I love. I'm big on the defensive plays. Like a lot of people like to see big bomb touchdown runs or a big big run kind of thing. But nothing's more prettier than a quarterback sack or a pick six to me. Seeing
so
that.
I think we talked about this at the beginning. Is it safe to say your favorite defensive player of all time is Ray Lewis?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, 100%. Yeah.
Right on. Yeah,
Ed's right behind him, and then Sizzle, obviously. I've had really bad luck with my jerseys though. I got my Ray jerseys, and then he retired, so I wanted to pick him up. So I got a Haloti Ngata jersey, and then next year he went to Detroit, and then I got a Mosley jersey, and the next year he went to the Jets. So I'm a little leery on buying any jerseys from now. That I send the guy to a new team, but.
Well, is there anything else that you wanted to say to our audience or cover before we sign off here?
Not really. I mean, I just enjoy talking cards with you, and it was great to be here, and it was an honor to be on here because you were the first one that put that connection of the fantasy football into using it to invest in the cards in my head, and then I started to roll from there. Because you were the only one that was doing that on YouTube that I found, and that started. I think it was Brad. I saw Brad's video first. After as I said, Jeff Wilson was appearing in my, and then once I started looking at those, and then I saw Brad and I started watching him, and he's recommended you, and then once I saw your videos, I binge watched them all for like 2 or 3 days. I just went through all of them.
I appreciate that.
And I was just everything clicked. I'm like, oh, that makes sense. Yeah, I can see that. I know how to look at that. And it just snowballed from there. And then I started looking into it, and then started building up the theories on the stacking and using what can I carry over from DFS into the investing, not just the player analytics, but the philosophies behind even just building a lineup. Like stacking, like, putting quarterbacks and wide receivers or players together because one's going to do good and the other one's, hopefully rub off on the other one kind of thing, or they'll both do good at the same time. Or like I've used the lineup optimizer logic to help me decide what to spend my money on, right? You assign each card your own specific ratings, and then you let the optimizer run it just like picking you a team. And it helps you decide if you got $100 to spend I want to buy 10 cards, what's going to give me the best value for the 10 cards. So
I'll give you a wrench, Michael Am. But yeah, no, I love the mindset, man. I really appreciate the conversation we've had tonight. I can
Absolutely.
totally see you and I having more conversations
I
live
will
on
be back
YouTube in
anytime
the
you want.
future.
Yeah.
This mindset, this approach that we take to football card investing and flipping, just the whole 9 yards, the whole aspect of it, what we do in this community is it's a way of life, man, and it's a lot of fun, and it's a blast. So I really appreciate all you guys tuning in tonight. Thank you for your support. And as always, the chat section has been fire tonight. You guys kick ass. And Sean, thank you very much. And I will see you guys live actually Thursday night. I have a busy live stream schedule this week because him and I were supposed to go Saturday. But Thursday night, I'll have To the Moon Collectibles. I was live on his Instagram a few weeks ago. And this guy he's taken the plunge and bought several like 50,000 raw card collections.
Oh,
And he's
wow.
been working with Investicard. He's doing some cool things that are just on a totally different side of the card collecting and investing game that I want to get more familiar with. So I really want to pick his brain. I think it's going to be an interesting live stream as well. So I look forward to seeing you guys there. Peace. Shout out to Sharp Hobbies. Hopped in last. What's up, Sean? That's another Sean, another cool Sean.